An EMP just hit. Oh no, every electronic is completely fried. What are we going to do? Nothing. It's total rubbish. It's garbage. It is a wives' tale. A very scary wives' tale and scary stories, but don't believe it. And where this came from, I'm not 100% positive because I hear this, and that's why I made this video today. I hear this on other channels all the time. They believe wholeheartedly and teach to you that if an EMP hits, or a coronal mass ejection, by the way, EMP, electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear weapon, or a coronal mass ejection from the sun hits, goodbye everything, and it's simply not true. And I'm going to prove it to you in this video. Stay through this. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be everything rosy and cherries. We're going to see some really bad things coming. But I think a lot of it came from this book here. Have you read this? 1 Second After. And I'm not going to diss the book. I thought the book was actually very good. However, 2 things about it. The first one is the author clearly never did any research about how EMPs actually work. And sure enough, in the book, everything just dies overnight. And everybody's just nice and calm and relaxed. That's the second thing we'll talk about in a second. So I guess the question is, why are you going to believe me? How would I know? Because the author may know more than me, because granted, he has a book that's printed out for you. Must be truth, right? Well, first off, before I went to med school, my undergraduate degrees, among many, were physics and math. I'm a physicist and mathematician. I love it. I ate it up, every ounce of it. Love physics. And so when I actually read the physics research articles, I can read the physics research articles and understand what they're saying. Number 2, I have a really good friend. Well, he's a friend, not really a good friend, but somebody I talk to on occasion, and I can't give you his name. I'm not allowed to. He said, I'll talk to you all the time, but you can't put my name on your channel. All I'm going to say is he's he's a head CEO of a company that is solely responsible for hardening all of our military and federal installations to make sure they're ready for EMPs. And so I pick his brain, especially with my physics brain, I can pick it, and he gives me some really good stuff and also gets rid of the wives' tales. And the stuff we talked about corroborates exactly what I'm saying, that people think that electronics will fry. They will not. Third is this. Ready for this? I will put out a video and someone will say, you need to show me the research. No, you can Google it yourself, by the way. I'm sure you have a keyboard on your little computer there. Google it yourself. But for people like that, I put tons of articles below. Enjoy reading some of these articles, by the way, because if you don't have a physics degree, you may have a difficult time reading what they're actually saying. All right. To make it easy for you, I'm simply going to take that information and relay it to you so we don't have to worry about reading the articles, but they are there in case you want to do it. Just look in the description. All right. So we're going to dispel the myths. We're going to talk about what will work, what won't work, and what you can do to try to make sure you survive what's coming, because it's far worse than electronics just frying, by the way. If that's your biggest fear, then maybe this isn't for you, because you're going to be completely fearful at the end of this. All right. First off, when we talk about an EMP or a coronal mass ejection, we're talking about ions, just charged particles. In fact, if a country is going to attack us with what's called a high altitude EMP, or HEMP as we call it, it's going to do it in what's called our ionosphere. Our Earth is surrounded by this huge layer of ions, charged particles. And if it's lit off, the nuclear device is set off up there, those ions are sent down big time onto our country, and they'll attach to anything metal. Think of it that way. Power lines is what we're talking about here specifically. And those power lines, of course, traverse the country, or at least the separate grids. They go to businesses. They go to, the stations, the power stations. They go to your house. And when that power line comes to your house and it's full of these ions, this is called current, by the way, just high current coming to your house, it'll go right through your breaker panel, by the way. It will not trip those breakers. Breakers trip because of heat differentiation, and there's no time for that. This current's moving so fast. You could even shut off your main breaker. It'll still come to your house. Surge protectors will do nothing for you. And as it goes around your house, anything, first off, plugged in, kiss it goodbye. It's gone. I mean, it could be said that anything with semiconductors will fry, and that's certainly true. If you have something really old school that doesn't have semiconductors, I suppose there's a chance it might survive. But I wouldn't bet money on that either. So fries everything plugged in. In fact, even if you shut off that main breaker, shut off all your breakers, it'll still arc straight across and hit everything in your home. It will, because it needs to be able to go to ground. In fact, when we've seen things like CMEs in the past with, like, for example, the Carrington event, arcs of electricity would go from the lines to anything grounded, setting things like, at that time, telegraph houses on fire. But now it'll be doing things like setting your house on fire. Keep that in mind. So the first thing you may want to consider is getting what's called an EMP Shield. And I'll link it below if you want to pick it up. It's probably smart getting with this. I think they're like $400. And they do work. Again, dispel another myth. We can make EMPs in a lab. We've been doing it for a while. We actually have EMP missiles in our military. I don't know if you know that. We can actually send EMPs directed at specific buildings if we wanted to. We can do that now. So people say, oh, you can't make any. Of course we can. We make them all the time. And these EMP shields by the military have been tested and they work. $400. You're supposed to get an electrician to put it in for your house. However you do it, it's up to you. And I'll link it below if you want to pick one up. So not a bad idea, getting an EMP shield to protect your home. To protect your home. Will it protect your devices? Probably. But what it does is it takes all that current, instead of sending it to your devices, it just shunts it to ground. So it drastically decreases the chances of your house catching on fire and frying all your stuff plugged into the wall. All right, so let's say an EMP hits. Out of the blue, you didn't know it was even coming, and you're sitting at your dining room table, nowhere near the outlets, by the way, because it can still arc from the outlets too. And you have like your laptop sitting there. You have your cell phone sitting there. They're not plugged in. They're just sitting there. They do have a chance of frying still, but the chance, if I were a betting man, I would bet money easily they're not going to fry. Most electronics, by far, 90% or more, are not going to fry if they're not plugged in. Your cell phone will keep on cell phoning. Your laptop will still keep on laptopping. And granted, you may not be able to do a whole lot with it. Your cell phone may connect to a cell phone tower. No, the cell phone tower is going to go down. I don't mean collapse, but it's going to fry because it is connected. Anything connected is going to fry. So keeping your cell phone, maybe so you can play some games on it or take a picture or two, sure, it'll still work for you. Why not? Your laptop too. But what's that going to do for you? Because guess what? The grid's down in America. And when this grid goes down, by the way, we're talking about not even months, but years, because when that high tension power lines and all that current goes into those stations, it's going to explode the transformers. We're short on them as it is. And it's going to take years to replace them. You're not on the priority, by the way. Certain military installations, federal installations are, businesses, commerce, trying to get food to you will. Even gas stations, we're talking about probably gas stations are going to be out for at least a year, if not more. You're not going to have gas for your car. We'll talk about cars in just a second. But the bigger the profile, the bigger the metal device you have, the greater the chance it's going to fry without being plugged in. But still, most of them will still keep working just fine, including one so important item that people worry about all the time called a pacemaker. An artificial pacemaker, mind you. Most people's pacemakers are not plugged in the wall. That was a joke, by the way. None of them are plugged in the wall. And it's under your skin, which is a great insulator. This is why when you get shocked, it burns your skin because it's your skin stopping that electricity, that current from going. So it's not going to fry. Guess what? Every single study conclusively, 100% have shown that 100% of all pacemakers will still keep pacemaking for you. Excellent. Anything plugged in the wall will probably be gone. So if you have other medical equipment that's plugged in, not a good thing. All right. So let's talk about some other systems. Your cell phone systems will be down. More than likely, even if you have a satellite phone system, it'll probably still be down. The reason being is not all satellites are EMP hardened. Military ones are. Our federal governments, they're working on it. But your satellite phone is not, military or federal government. So there's an excellent chance that same current that comes down to Earth will fry those satellites too. There's a lot of satellites that are hardened. I wouldn't bet money that a satellite phone will still work. If for some reason your cell phone would survive, again, there is a cell phone tower that is still up. It's not going to, but if it were, you're not a priority and they're not going to let you make calls anyway. Listen to this. No police. There's no calling a fire department. There's no calling an ambulance. There's no going to a hospital. Granted, they have generators, but that gas is only going to last so long. Yep, this is the worst part about this. I'm going to get more detail about this. This is what we have to prepare for, by the way. Not your cell phone not working. Who cares about a cell phone? All right. What about your car? Let's say you want to head down to, somewhere. You're driving in a car somewhere. Right now in America, we have upwards of 200 million, if not more, cars and trucks actually running right now, driving down the road at any given time. Pretty amazing thought, isn't it? That's a lot. And with that, if you're driving your car, more than likely it'll stall out. So EMP hits, your car will stall out. That's weird. 95% of them will start right back up again. 95%. Even if it's a brand new, whatever it is, car, it will start back up again. 95% chance. So very good. Now, granted, you can still get an EMP shield for your car too, Let's take that 95% to 100% will still run. Good for you. It's up to you if you want to do it. I don't have one for my car. I have a few cars. Odds are my cars will still work. That's even if it's driving down the road. If your car's just sitting at home in the driveway, we're not talking about an electric car that's plugged in for charging, but your car's just sitting in your driveway, it's going to run just fine after. Remember I told you the bigger the item, the bigger the impact, but even cars. Studies have conclusively said, even brand new car studies will still keep working. Same thing about this. And 1 second after, there was nothing running. All cars stopped running except some old jalopy they had sitting in the garage was the only car in the town that was working. No, it's a wives' tale. Totally fake. Cars will still keep going. Airlines, planes crashing out of the sky. No, it's not going to happen. They'll keep flying, especially our military jets are hardened. Commercial jets are not, but 95% of them, I'm making that number up this time. I don't know the exact number, but by far the majority of those are still going to keep flying. The biggest problems you have is this. If that plane's flying and EMP hits, they may have a couple of instrumentation problems, may have navigation problems. They may not be able to connect with the ground because the ground can't give them their transponders anymore. Landing that big guy, that may be a different story, but it's not going to come crashing out of the sky. It doesn't work that way. And it's funny how we always look at the electronics frying. That's not the bigger picture. It's the bigger ones. Listen, if there's an EMP, it came from a nuke. If a nuke went off, it came from an adversary. We're at war. We're at World War III. We may even be at nuclear war. Who cares about your cell phone? Holy moly, people, really get on this. Your Facebook messages, you're not going to use them anymore. That's the least of your worries. Give me a break. See me from the sun. We're going to see that or an EMP and collapse of our infrastructure for months, if not years. More than likely years. But that's not the problem either. The last thing I have a hard time with this book, and listen, I'm an optimist, I'm a positive guy, is everybody in this book, practically everybody, went on like everything's just fine. Hey neighbor, how's it going with you? Hey, how are you? And there's a couple people frantic. No, it's going to be mass frantic, mass chaos, because guess what? Grocery stores are not getting more food. I mean, for the first couple days, they're not going to be able to check you out and they'll say we're closed. They're going to be open as people are smashing windows getting food because most people haven't stored food. That's where the problems come in. It's not your cell phone or Facebook Messenger. It's not Netflix or your car or planes falling from the sky. It's not even World War III, in which we're at now. We're talking about mass problems of our fellow mankind. As they start getting hungry, they're going to start coming to you for food. They may not even know you're a prepper. They may not even know you have food, but they're still coming to not knock on your door, but to pound on your door, because there's nothing like severe hunger to motivate someone to do something they never would have done in the first place. So that's what we have to worry about. And it's funny because these other channels talk about, what are you going to do? Your cell phone won't work. That's not the worries. It's your fellow man. Anyways, I hope you're preparing for this. I hope you're actually putting your food and everything in different locations, and you're preparing your house for home defense. Because remember, there's no police coming to your house to help you. There's no way to even call them. Hope this helps. Kind of frightening, but don't listen to the Missy's other channels because they literally are just making stuff up. Hope this helps. We'll see you next time.